think that's pretty much the standard trap that people use. That's an improvement on the old ones they used to have.
Okay, thank you.
I was just gonna mention in the article for the Village Voice, if you would also include again, what villagers should do if they
What
wanna get
residents
rid of.
should do?
Yeah, what they should do if they wanna get rid of the egg masses.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Planning Commission report, we had that with the village attorney's report, ZBA report. Police report.
Since the March 17th meeting, we've had the following activity. 2 911 hang-ups, 11 accidents, 23 alarms, 9 animal complaints, 6 assist fire departments, 1 well-being check. We've installed 3 child safety seats. We had 1 criminal damage to property, which we made an arrest for. We've had 3 driving complaints, DUI arrest. We fingerprinted 2 people as a service. Been on 3 lockouts, handled a missing person who was found, 10 motorist assists, 1 open burning, 2 parking complaints, 2 public assists, 8 suspicious circumstances. We've taken 16 case reports. We've given out 21 crime prevention notices. We made 136 traffic stops, and we issued 94 persons, a total of 107 citations, and we are currently watching 9 houses. Additionally, please report that Officer Alma Shirello, who was at his head shaved raising money for St. Baldrick's Foundation for the fight against cancer for children, including the generous donation that the board made of $1,000. His total, what he raised in total $1,650, which was one of the highest of all the people who were there at the event a couple weeks ago. I went and watched him get his head shaved. It was interesting. A lot of bald people running around. A couple other things. We sold our 3 old squad cars, and we auctioned them off, and we received $24,017 for the 3 cars. Additionally, I received a notification from the IRS, but this is a good notification. So, in 2004, Detective David Marks was involved in a burglary investigation that turned into a drug investigation, which he worked with DEA, and some of you were on the board then. He traveled out to Arizona, and I think it was last year reported to the board that as a result of that investigation and some seizures that were made, a couple vehicles were sold, and our share was about $5,000, which we received last year. Well, since then, they sold several pieces of property owned by an Anthony Rofalco, who was the focus of the investigation. And our share of the property that was sold was 3% of $2,237,168.19, which by my math comes to, we should be getting a check from the government for $67,115.05.
Bravo, bravo.
Bravo.
And that's the police report.
Thank you.
I can't beat that.
Where's Trustee Svadik?
Fire department report.
March was a relatively slow month
Good.
for fire department activity. 1 fire call, 4 car accidents, 13 requests for paramedics, 6 in the other category, 24 total calls, 86 year-to-date.
Thank you. Comments from the president. The surveyors are out for the bike path, and all of a sudden I got a rash of calls from residents saying, they're gonna cut down my trees. So I talked to Chuck tonight and Pat, and I was assured that we would replace a number of the trees that are gonna be taken down as part of the policy. Not all of them, we can't replace all of them. But most of the trees, a lot of the trees that come down, Chuck, you wanna elaborate on that?
Yeah, if you'd like me to explain
Yes,
it
please.
briefly. Yeah, we're at the
If we ever build a bike path, thank you.
Yeah, we're at the initial stage of this study, and we're gathering information, and what we've done to this point, Todd's been working with Pat's field crew And basically, the trees are in the right of way, we're putting a tag on them. The trees are on, outside the right of way, we're just putting a blue ribbon on them, and we're collecting the data on them, and they'll show up on the plan. I didn't want them to fall through the cracks, but I didn't want to tag trees on people's property and that sort of thing. We've had a few people that didn't really want us going on their property, so we just, because one of the reasons we're concerned about the trees on private property that are adjacent to is anyone that might have roots out into the right of way that we may impact with the path and that. So that's kind of what we're doing at this point. And as we get to the point of if this moves forward, if it moves forward, at some point we're going to take this information and continue the planning process, and we'll know exactly what trees are going to be impacted, what we need to do in terms of protection, which trees we're going to have to remove. And as part of that process, we're going to start looking at what we can do to replace things, because we're going to have certain constraints to deal with. Overhead wires, room, sight lines, and all those sorts of things. So basically, when we get the information, we start that part of the process. Our goal is to meet with any of the residents that are concerned about it, they want to talk about it, and they're trying to look at their particular situation and put together a plan that would kind of consider all the constraints, what their concerns are, and then we'll address them on an address-by-address basis. So I'm sure we'll be planting trees out there, how many and exactly where, I can't tell you at this point.
And your calls may very well have been the same as the kind that I got. The people who called were people who were very concerned because they were the ones that were tagged on their private property, and they thought somebody was coming to remove a tree on their private property.
Just even on the right of way, because it's their screening.
Well, and then there were some other people who said, oh, and I noticed that you did, does that mean all of them are coming down? I said, no, it's just a survey right now.
Well,
So,
but
but that's what people were concerned about.
They may all be coming down to your right.
I said, absolutely, trees will be coming down if we build the path.
Well, they just wanted to know, the ones that called me wanted to know if we were gonna replace some of the trees. And I said, yeah, but not, if you take on a big oak tree, you're not gonna replace a big oak tree, you're gonna replace smaller trees.
Right. And the ones that called me were concerned because they thought we were tagging them for removal like tomorrow.
It'll be next month.
It's going on the
Don't
website.
call, that's all right. Go ahead.
Okay. The next three items, second reading of ordinance requiring interior automatic sprinkler systems, we're going to postpone until the next meeting. Second reading of adoption of ordinance amending the village code to prescribe fences will go on to the next meeting. And consideration for professional services for the police station will go on to the next meeting also, because we are taking bids right now from different architects.
Bill, do we know when the moratorium expires on the fence?
Yes, the first week in May, I believe.
So we'll still be okay.
Yes.
Next meeting, we either have to do something or extend that moratorium.
That's correct. Okay, visitors wishing to address the board? Don't see any. An ordinance authorizing police department civilian firearms range master and range instructor positions. You want to explain this so we can wait for a reading?
I did write a memo to the board. We learned there is a state law that says that a part-time officer should not be in a position of supervising a full-time officer. It so happens, maybe I should let our chief explain this, but so you stop me if I'm not saying this correctly. It so happens that the range master, the officer who is in charge of the shooting range and firearms and the armory and does the training, am I saying that correctly?
I'll be happy to explain it.
Please explain that.
We have 3 range instructors. One of them is a full-time officer, the other 2 are part-time officers. And the 2 part-time officers, one of them, because of his level of expertise, is the range master. He has the most extensive background in training. It's come to my attention recently that there is a statute that says that a part-time officer will never supervise or direct a full-time officer. That's just part of the ordinance. I wasn't so certain that we were violating that statute